The Structure and Function of the Digestive System by Emma Parsons. In order for the body to function, we need to eat food for energy. So this is an Eat Well guide here. So it's showing you the food groups, the main food groups we need, which provide us with the vitamins, minerals, calcium, fats, sugars, fibres, protein and carbohydrates. In order for the foods to be digested, we need the enzymes. So as you can see on the table here, saliva, we have amylase, the gastric juices is protease or pepsin and hydrochloric acid. The pancreatic juices here, we've got protease, trypsin, lipases, amylase as well. And the intestinal enzymes, peptidases, sucrase, lactase, maltase, and then you've got your bile and bile salts from the liver. They all digest a different substance, and the product form is always something slightly different once it's been digested. So these conditions help the enzymes work at their best. So the temperature's got to be just right, the pH, acidity levels have got to be just right, no chemical inhibitors, the diet and health must be good generally, and small and regular meals are advised for these to work correctly. So the first point of ingestion is obviously the mouth, where we take in the food, we chew it. The saliva helps break it down, so we chew it into a more easy form for it to be taken through the digestive system. So these are the muscles that we need to use while we're chewing the food. So here we have a picture of the pharynx, larynx and epiglottis. So this is where the food goes once we've swallowed it. So this is located in the throat between the mouth and the esophagus. It's used for swallowing. It uses the muscles to help the food go through this more easily. So the muscle contract. This is called peristalsis, and this happens all the way through the system. So it transports food, liquid and air through this tube. The food then comes through to the esophagus. So that's here, this is the food pipe. So it comes through the epiglottis also, which helps the food, it's a flap that helps the food stay in the right place rather than go down your windpipe where your airflow goes. So there are two esophageal sphincters in the esophagus to keep the food from coming back up and moving around when our bodies are moving around. The food then reaches the stomach. So there's four parts of the stomach which I've written here. So it's the fundus, the body, the antrum and the pylorus. So this is the lining of the stomach. This is where all the acids and the enzymes are secreted to help break down the food further. The food then reaches the small intestine, which is very long. It's 23 feet long with three segments. I've stated here the duodenum, the jejunum and the ileum. So it works with the liver and the pancreas to break down the foods further with the enzymes we spoke about earlier. So the liver helps absorb the nutrients from the small intestine. It produces bile, which helps to digest the fats and the nutrients. It produces bile salts and bile pigments. So this is the chemical factory of the body. It detoxes harmful chemicals we may have ingested, converts large fat molecules into smaller ones, controls the blood sugar and the amino acids, and stores vitamins A, D, iron and copper. So the pancreas and the gallbladder also work together with the small intestine. So they secrete enzymes into the small intestine, the duodenum. It helps break down proteins. It produces insulin. The ilex and Langerhans is which produce the hormones, the insulin, and secrete glucagon also. So the gallbladder stores the bile and it produces the enzyme here. Secretes bile and breaks up fats from the food, and it also helps to drain the waste. So the food then reaches the large intestine from the small intestine. So it's slightly shorter at 6 feet long, and this is where the waste processing occurs. So we've got the these different sections here, the ascending, the transverse, the descending and the sigmoid colon. So this is where all the liquid and electrolytes are taken from and absorbed from the food that's been processed, well, the waste that's been processed. So this is the final part of the digestive system, the rectum and the anus. So it's all muscly part in here, lots of nerves and muscles to stop the contents coming out unnecessarily. It can sense whether the contents are liquid or solid. It's quite clever. It sends a brain signal to the brain. So these sphincters can tense or relax to contain or release the contents when they're ready. So as a summary of what we've just spoken about, the digestive system is made up of many organs which all play a vital part in the digestive process. Beginning with the process of ingestion, the food is chewed into smaller particles ready to be transported through the system with the help of a process called peristalsis. The food is passed through the pharynx and esophagus into the stomach, where the food is mixed with enzymes and strong acids to further break down the food before being passed to the small intestine, where the vitamins and nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream, assisted by the liver and the pancreas. The large intestine is where the moisture is absorbed as well as the electrolytes. The rectum receives the contents of the colon until the brain signals the contents whether they're ready or not. Once the stool is ready, the sphincters relax to allow the stool to be passed from the anus.